So today's video, we're going to look at project management back to basics and setting ourselves up for success. How do you currently measure success within your projects? Is it, well, we met all of our deliverables, we got it in on time, and we came in on budget? All these are fine, but really, do they mean anything to your end client or your customer? PMs find their projects often hit every one of these targets, but the client was underwhelmed or really not satisfied. So why is that? Well, let's take a look at the project measures. We all know about the triple constraint, the time, cost, quality triangle, and many PMs would argue that this is a tool for measuring success. Well, the truth is it isn't. The triple constraint was there to help us as project managers assess impacts. It's not really meant to measure projects or the success of projects. So your client then, if you just talk about time, cost, quality, it really doesn't mean anything to them unless you've broken these things down and specifically explained what they mean. What the client is looking at, because often they write the business cases, what's the value of this product or service, and what value add is it bringing to the business or to my team. So how can we assist our clients better? And is there a way that we can use the triple constraint as a guideline for these measurements? So I found these tips really helpful when determining project success criteria with my clients and customers. I've used the triple constraint as the basis for the measures, but they're not the measures themselves. Just remember, don't apply these just to the overall project, but for every deliverable within the project. So know what your deliverables are and who your clients are, and we should do okay. So the first one is time, and instead of time, we ask, when do you need this by? This helps us in a number of ways. First, it enables the client to think about what the priorities are. Also, determine if there's any low-hanging fruit there that we can go after and bring value early. Second, it helps the PM with scheduling and also ensuring if there is a logical flow to things. And what I mean by that is sometimes a deliverable may be important to the client and they say it may need to come first, but there are other activities that you need to do before that deliverable can actually happen. So you have to make sure that you've got the logical flow and the sequence correct. Finally, it helps us determine the right approach for the project, whether it's going to be sequential deliverables, whether it could be done in parallel, whether there's an opportunity to do things iteratively, use pipelines and work streams, etc. Tip number 2 is about cost. So instead of cost, we should ask, what budget are we working within? Where are we expecting to find savings? And finally, where does the value come from? Now, this should be applied to every deliverable. In addition to the when do we need it by, this really helps the business focus on value and priorities. This helps your client determine what is important to them and helps drive out the scope and also the weighting of those deliverables. So tip 3 is around quality. Many PMs struggle with this, but there are 3 easy measures to apply to all of your deliverables that I strongly believe will help you become a more rounded PM. One is efficiency. Are we going about this the most efficient way? Is the product or service designed to work efficiently? Can we consolidate? Can we rationalize or automate? You can look at processes in there as well and determine that, are we really getting from A to B as efficiently as possible? Effectiveness. Are we achieving the desired outcomes? So that goes across the board for all of our deliverables. You know, if we're not delivering what we set out to do, is that because we've changed something along the way, or have we missed something? We need to stay on top of whether the product or service we're developing or delivering is effective and relevant. Is it what we asked for in the order or sequence that we asked for it? Is it still useful? Do we still need it? All of those are real viable questions around relevance. This should be applied to all deliverables, including project management deliverables like reports and documentation. So can we consolidate or rationalize our documentation so we're spending less time on it, or we're spending less money producing these things? Always worth remembering that the PM is responsible for governance and determining what is right for their project. So we may have methods or frameworks that we follow, but are those things appropriate or relevant for this project and what we are doing specifically? And we do have tools available to us like exceptions, and we can have decisions made by our sponsors, etc., to help us with those things. Doing the right thing. Now we have our business engaged in prioritizing, scheduling, determining value, and identifying all of those important areas of quality. We can build up a much easier view to determine the project success criteria and put measurements against them. This should help determine things like minimum viable product where appropriate, and establish when something has been met or even exceeded. So start with breaking down the project into its core deliverables and know who the customer is for each of those deliverables. Apply budget or savings against each one of those deliverables, and then have criteria to say whether that has been met or exceeded expectations. Apply needed by to each one of those deliverables, and then also have a delivered on date, met or exceeded expectations measure. Finally, optimized. Have a partial. In some projects, it may be appropriate for a minimum viable product to have partial optimization, because in the later phases you'll optimize that further, whether the optimization has been met or whether you've exceeded expectations. Now you have much better alignment with your client. Your customers will find things easier to discuss. You'll find risks are easier to assess, and also assess impacts later down the line if anything changes. Thanks for watching today. I hope you found some of the content interesting. If you'd like some more information on Key4IT, please visit our website. And also, if you'd like some information on the IT Quality Index, please visit itqualityindex.com.